Well, normally when I do these type of videos, I normally talk on a Fridays where I review both WWE shows, NXT UK and 205 Live, and then NJPW Strong. But this time, something's going to be added. Another episode of AEW Dark before we get to Full Gear. So all of that will be discussed and reviewed on Deleted WrestleZone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted WrestleZone, all things pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, many matches, promotions, wrestlers, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So let's get started with NXT UK. So this particular episode was very interesting because it right now we're getting into the semifinals of the Heritage Cup, which right now we got two semifinal matches. One right now it took place on this one, the following one the next week. But however, the rest of the show was pretty interesting. The first thing what happened is they show the aftermath of what happened a week ago with Ilya Dragunov was facing Walter for the NXT United Kingdom Championship. I mean that match was really brutal. So basically, Ilya looks like Dragunov looked like he was really beaten like a total, like a twig. But it's still unclear how his injuries were. But we'll see how it goes. But the real question is who is now going to face Walter to dethrone him if there's anybody out there who can dethrone him. Now, the first match we have is, of course, Gallus and the return of Gallus leader Joe Coffey. We haven't seen him for quite some time, not since the Speaking Out movement. Looks like they haven't skipped a beat since, we haven't seen Joe Coffey for a while. They were set to face against Sam Chatwell and Pretty Deadly. As you know, these two came the Chatwell and of course Pretty Deadly actually came together a week ago because apparently Pretty Deadly wants a piece of Gallus because they are the Mark Coffey and Wolfgang are the current title holders of the NXT UK Tag Team Championships. So Pretty Deadly felt that those titles should be on their waist and they want to make a play for it. But however, Sam Chatwell wants to make a play beat to get his hands on Joe Coffey. The match was pretty much like it's always been. So far, Gallus did not miss a beat. I did enjoy what he did, and Gallus picked up the victory. So, but Pretty Deadly, this is far from over for them. They will somehow obtain the NXT UK Tag Team titles. Now, the next thing we see is Rampage Brown. If you guys are not familiarized with them, he's been in the independent scenes in the UK for who knows how long. Apparently, he looks like he's going to sign with WWE for the NXT UK brand. They took him to a tour all over the Performance Center in the UK, not the one in Tampa, Florida, or Orlando, Florida, wherever it is. But that's what's gonna happen. The next thing we have is a women's match. We have Elia James versus the fashionette or fashionerosa, whatever she calls herself, Ginny. She has proven her dominance, like always, to prove that she feels right now that she is the one who deserves to be the NXT UK Women's Champion. But however, she actually was able to beat Aaliyah James. Now, Ginny cut this promo when she won her match, talking about Piper Niven. She's saying that she needs to get in the back of the line. And basically, Piper Nevins did not like what she was saying. Piper Nevins Main goal is to obtain the NXT UK Women's Champion. That was the thing. But out of nowhere, Kylie Ray shows up and tries to stir things up. But however, because she likes to stir things up, she just made things a lot worse. What happened is she saw what Piper Nevins can do. Now, at some parts she was happy, but the shocker wasn't that. Is when she picked up Ginny and slammed her right on top of a steel chair. That's a side of Piper Nevins we never seen. So basically, Kylie Ray is now worried. She may have light up the gas with this one with matches, but she was running for her life. And eventually, Piper Nevins catched up to her in the backstage, trying to beat up. So basically, the real question is, does this mean that Piper Nevins could lose her title? She's been trying so hard to obtain that title, to stay in her waist, maintain her legacy. But however, you may never know what's going to happen. Now, the next thing we see is a little video package by Eddie Dennis. Now, a week ago, Eddie Dennis, well, 2 weeks ago, Eddie Dennis comes out saying that he believed that he was stirring things up, saying that it was Flash Morgan Webster that attacked Mark Andrews by early this year, and then not too long ago, right after the Heritage Cup match, that it was Mark Andrews who attacked Flash Morgan Webster. But later, Eddie Dennis was being cryptic, and of course, we all know what happened. The Hunt showed up to be on by their side, but they stabbed them in the back, betraying their friends. Basically, Eddie Dennis begins a war with Andrews and Webster. So we don't know when they will return. Hopefully, they do. They'll get their payback against the Hunt for betraying them. And as for Ed Dennis, I hope he has a partner to help him out. Now, let's jump into the main event. We have the Heritage Cup semifinals. This time is Noam Dar versus A Kid. Now, this is one of those matches that I kind of was thinking. I already predicted it a bit. My prediction was, in fact, Noam Dar was going to win and get to the semifinals to face Trent Seven. But now this one has changed because the way it was going, it was determination between both who wanted to win it more. And for each competitor, both A Kid and Noam Dar, won a point each. But the real question is who's going to win the last point. And my surprise, who I did not expect, it was A Kid. But this is one of those things. I was wrong, and I was like, okay, I would have hoped it was Noam Dar because I'm hoping that he goes face Trent Seven. But it is excuse me, it is what it is. And next week we have the other semifinal match between Dave Mastiff and Trent Seven. So that's what happened in NXT UK. So let's move on with 205 Live. Okay, so 205 Live is going to be short and simple. They only had two matches, but it's a very interesting matches the way they had. So the first match is Ashante the Adonis versus the undefeated Mansoor. Now, this is one of those matches where we got to pay attention to guys like Mansoor. If you guys are not familiarized with him, he was one of the few wrestlers that they I don't remember which Middle Eastern show they put, either the one in the Great Royal Rumble, the Greatest Royal Rumble, or the other one in Saudi Arabia. I'm not 100% sure, but he has been undefeated so far, hasn't lost a match just yet. Um, but he faced. So this is one of those matches that I did see. There was a bit of the groundwork. If you guys aren't familiarized, that's like similar to the Greco-Roman style that you guys seen. When you're as an amateur wrestler. But yeah, it was a pretty good match. I did enjoy, but of course Mansoor walked out with the victory on this one, and Mansoor showed respect to his opponent, the one that lost, and of course, Adonis gave his respect to him as well. Now, the main event for this one or so, if it is a main event, is Tony Nese and Araya Davari, who they had their issues towards Kurt Stallion. As you know, Kurt Stallion beat Tony Nese not too long ago, so they set up a tag team match. So Kurt Stallion picked August Gray, someone he's familiarized with, and he chose him to be his partner for the day, realizing they go back. I mean, it was a good hectic battle, but however, the much of the beginning, both Stallion and Gray seemed like they had everything under control, but at the end, it did not go exactly as planned. Thanks to Davari, who used his little gold chain to whack Stallion to ensure they lost. So this war between them is far from over. Now they normally would have like a little something in the middle of these shows, but nothing happened. I did not expect that, but it did announce that we are expecting the return of the current cruiserweight champion, Santos Escobar. But of course, I'm still waiting for the one person who he believes is the true cruiserweight. I'm talking about the Irish Ace, Jordan Devlin. I'm expecting that. So I hope I get to see Santos versus Jordan Devlin. So I think that's it for now for 205 Live. So let's move on to AEW Dark. Okay, so as you probably know, this is not Tuesday Wrestling. It's, in fact, the last AEW Dark before we get to Full Gear. So they had some interesting matches. I think they got about 7 or 8 matches. But let's go one by one. First is a women's match with this other person. I don't know who she is. Tesha Price versus Big Swole. It was really interesting. They put Big Swole back in AEW Dark so she can be more character developed. As you know, that we haven't seen Big Swole in a big main event, like a big match on Dynamite. But I hope she will return back to Dynamite so we can see her more in there, and I'm very excited. But she actually won this match, so it was a no-brainer because I never heard of Tesha Price, so we can say it's a jobber. Now the next match we had Matt Sydal versus Christopher Daniels. The match was pretty good. I liked this because it showed a bit more different. But however, the match did not go in favor for Christopher Daniels due to the sudden appearance of the Hybrid 2, who Christopher Daniels and Frank Kazarian had their issues with it for a while now, and appears they're trying to get under his skin. That's pretty much what was going on between them. But that cost Daniels the match, allowing for Matt Sydal to win. Next match is Michael Naka, 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 Nakazawa versus Brandon Cutler. Now, you could ask yourself in this one, does Brandon Cutler win this one? Well, as you know, we cannot deny about Michael Nakazawa's applied to Turkish oil wrestlings. That's what he called it. So it went down in that direction. But however, somehow Brandon Cutler was able to overcome every obstacle that Michael Nakazawa was able to pull out, and he picked up his second straight victory after beating Peter Avalon a week ago. But now we get to see him more. I hope they give him a good push because that's something we want to see. Now the next we have an interview with Frankie Kazarian. As you know, he's now calling a shot, saying that they deserve to be more. He should be at the top of the food chain since we know he's an elite athlete that we've been seeing over the years, even their time, with the rivalry with the Bucks and the elite, that sort of thing. So he already put it out there. What he wants to do is either teaming with Kazarian or teaming with Daniels or Scorpio. So that's pretty much what he was already sending out. Now the next match we have Ariel Dominguez versus Griff Garrison. This is the first time we see Griff Garrison facing someone who's not even been showing a newcomer. I've seen Ariel Dominguez once before, not on AEW, mostly with MLW, Major League Wrestling. But I have to say, I don't know if with this match, with him winning it, if AEW are considering signing Griff Garrison. Because if they are, that's going to be a good thing. Because we've seen several wrestlers that now who showed up on Dark are now getting a very big recognition. Now they're all elite, that type of thing. But the moment the match was won, he gets a little visit from Lance Archer. Jake Roberts gave um, Griff Garrison the DCC the walk away. You don't want no piece of him, but try to have the bigger cojones. He decided to stand up against Jake Roberts, but not enough. So basically, he got taken out. But as for Lance Archer, his mind is still set on obtaining the one prize that's on his sights, and I'm talking about the AEW World Championship. That's always been his goal. So, is he going to interfere in that match? I don't know, but we'll just wait and see where they're gonna go with it. Next up, we have the next tag team. We have Sean Maluda and Ryzen versus Dark Order members Stu Grayson and Evil Uno, which we all know is jobber setting. So they Dark Order wins this match as always. We always known this is a jobber thing. Now the next match we have Trevor Reed versus Absolute Ricky Stark, another name that I never heard of. I never heard this name before. But however, it I'll tell you who won. It's Ricky Stark. A no-brainer. Another jobber type. Now the main event is Lee Johnson. If you guys know this or not, Lee Johnson is now been heavily recruited by Cody to join the Nightmare family. Even his Tintron had the Nightmare logo. So basically, he's now with Cody, facing off against one half of the best friends, Chuck Taylor. This was a pretty good match. I liked it. I mean, of course, there were some great funny moments with the other guys, with Trent and Orange, but a good match. I have to say it was a good, not the best, a good match, and it resulted of Chuck Taylor winning his match. So I don't know why this time they decided to throw it dark, but luckily this one went for an hour. So I did enjoy that. Now before I ended, there's been good news. It's been revealed now, if you guys been aware, that there's plans for a secondary AEW show. This one is gonna go an hour long. It's not gonna be an extra hour out of Dynamite or Move uh, Dark whatsoever, but this is going to be unique from what Cody has put out. So I hope you guys like this segment. So let's move on to the final review for this episode of NJPW Strong. Okay, so this NJPW Strong, the Road to New Japan Showdown, was very interesting. We had the debut of JR, what was his name? Of JR Kratos, a guy that has been around the independents, and they pretty much had three amazing matches. So let's start with the first match. The first match is Jordan Clearwater versus Fred Rouser. It's interesting now we're seeing Fred Rouser in. If you guys don't know who he is, he was formerly known as Darren Young when he was with the Nexus. But it did showcase a bit more about Fred Rouser, but also Jordan Clearwater. I've seen him once before um, at a Level Up show that I normally attend. But it's pretty interesting. Fred Rouser, I have to say, he is evolving and he picked up his victory on this one. So good for you, Fred. I'm sticking right behind you. Now, the next match, I have to say, this one was a very interesting one for me. As you know, I've been a fan of Danny Limelight since October of 2018. So I met him at a wrestling show called Shining Burning Wrestling, and we hit it off for a while, and that was it until um, late last year, before the end of the year. He lost to Baja Stars Cruiserweight. But however, this match with him and Chase Owens, I have to say, it's one of the most interesting matches I've ever seen. I did not expect him that he was going to face against a member of the Bullet Club. As you know, I'm a Bullet Club fan myself, too sweet. So I'm was blown away by the match. But I kind of expected how it's gonna end. I mean, I feel like they put him over a little bit, but despite the fact that he lost to Chase Owens, I have to say that he may be a good asset to have with New Japan. I know there's been talk from Alex Kozlov saying that Rocky Romero has his sights set on him, knowing that he would like to take him under his wing, which I have no problem with. But it was a good match. I did like this match with Danny Limelight with Chase Owens. Now the main event is the tag team. We have JR Kratos and Russ Taylor versus Rocky Romero and Jeff Cobb. Now, Russ Taylor and Rocky Romero used to be partners before until there was a falling out. But man, you cannot deny Jeff Cobb and JR Kratos, two big men who have to face each other. But however, the match did not end it exactly like I thought it would. But it was surprising. It was JR Kratos who picked up the victory, allowing to win the match. But however, Russ Taylor did not want to let go of the hold. So it ended with him, trying to break him up. And I get the feeling this whole thing with Taylor and Romero are is not gonna be is gonna continue on down the line. So I'm very excited for this. So this is Kratos' debut, but I'm excited for that. Now before I go, I wanted you guys to know a little something that just came around. As you know, that recently WWE recruited Ben Carter, who is in fact made an appearance on AEW Dark. It was revealed that now the WWE are using AEW Dark as a tool to scout wrestlers who are not even signed with AEW as a way to get new talent. They did that with Ben Carter. We do know that AEW had their sights set on him, but AEW beat them to the punch. They even tried to get Michael Bowen, but now he's been signed with AEW. So basically, it kind of changed the dynamic with many wrestlers, how they went for guys like WWE when they recruit people. But I don't know why that happened, but I don't think it makes any difference because we have seen wrestlers that are not signed. We've seen that many times over, but we'll see how that goes. I don't know about if WWE has an interest signing Allison Kay, who's a free agent, but she'll make her appearance on the buy-in for Full Gear. So that's pretty much it. Before I go, the next episode I'm gonna do is hopefully before the start of Full Gear, is watch the latest Dragon Gate event that took place in Corrigan Hall last last Thursday, and then do a little bit of the prediction what's gonna happen for AEW's Full Gear. So that's it for now. So I'm gonna bid all of you guys adieu. So goodbye, mwah, and have a nice day. Bang.